Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year 2025. I missed you all. I'm back again and we are starting this year with a bomb. So today I'm going to be making a princess cut bustier dinner gown. It's a maxi gown. So if this is something you would like to learn, make sure you watch this video to the end. My name is Victoria Essien, your favorite fashion design tutor. If you are new to this channel, please click on the subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and also like this video and share it. Thank you so much for watching. So now let's get into it. This is the fabric I'm going to be using for this tutorial. It's a crepe fabric. I'll be using my pattern paper to draft out the pattern and then place it on my fabric and cut it out. So let's get right into it. So first of all, I'm going to enter my shoulder measurement divided by 2. Here I marked my shoulder measurement. I'll go down by 1 inch for shoulder slope. And I also mark my neck width. The neck width I'm working with is 3 inches. And I'm going to connect the neck width to the shoulder slope. So from the shoulder slope, I'll enter my armhole measurement. My armhole measurement is my bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. So I'm going to bring down my shoulder measurement to this line so I can get a straight line from the shoulder. Then I'm going to mark the midpoint of this armhole line. At the midpoint, I'll go in by half an inch. So my armhole is 8 inches and half will be 4 inches, and I go in by half an inch. And then on this line, this is the chest line. I'm going to enter my bust measurement divided by 4. I'm going to connect the half inch I mark at the midpoint of this armhole line to my bust measurement I just entered, and then I'm going to connect it to the shoulder slope as well to form my armhole curve. I'll go ahead and mark my neck depth and draw out my neckline. So that's my neckline. I'll go ahead and enter my bust point, my under bust point, and my waistline. I'm going to draw out all the lines. This line here is my chest line. This is my bust point, my under bust point, and then my waistline. The next thing I'll do is to enter my bust span measurement. That's my nipple to nipple measurement. So I'm going to enter it on my bust line and on my waistline, and then I'll draw a straight line to connect it. So this is my bust span line. After drawing the bust span line, the next thing I will do is to take my under bust tightening. At the bust span line, I'm taking 1 inch to the center front, and then at the side front, I'm taking 1.5. So that's a total of 2.5 inches tightening I'm doing here. From the bust point line, I'll come down by 1 inch. Then I'm going to connect this 2 marking at the under bust to that 1 inch I marked. So I'm using a curve ruler to draw this. So I'm connecting this dart leg to the waistline. Now you need to pay attention to this side very well. It's very important. This is where we are going to mark out our princess dart. On this armhole line, you are going to mark the midpoint. For me, it's 4 inches. And then I'll go up by 1 inch, and I'll also go down by 1 inch to take a total of 2-inch darts. Then I'm going to connect the 2 marking to my bust point using a straight ruler. So when you get to the bust point, you have to blend that point so that you don't have any sharp edge around there. So as you can see my line, for this line I went out by 2 inches here. The 2 inches that I took out here is what I went out with here. So from the armhole cuff you go out by 2 inches. If you don't add this extra 2 inches, when you are stitching your dress, you notice that this part will be shorter than this other part. So you need to replace the 2 inches here so that you don't have any shortage. I want to blend my bust very well. So my bustier is looking good. The next part I'll be working on is the keyhole neckline. So for this keyhole neckline, from my neckline, I'll mark 1 inch. And then I want the keyhole to be 1.5. So I'll be using this ruler to draw the keyhole. So I'll get the perfect drawing I want. But if you don't have this ruler, you can go ahead and use your hand to draw it. So from the center front, I'll come in by half an inch. I'm going to draw. I'll first of all draw this first part, this first line that is close to the neckline. And then I will shift my ruler to get the second marking, that's the 1.5. If you can do this with your free hand, it's okay. But I'm using this ruler to make it easier for me to get the exact shape I want. So after drawing the keyhole, the next thing is to enter your round body measurement. So my bust measure, I'll enter my bust measurement divided by 4 at this point, and I'm going to replace this dart here. So I'm going to measure the dart. What I have here is half inch, so I'm going to replace the half inch by the side. And I'll add 1 inch stitching allowance. Then on the waistline, I'll enter my waist measurement divided by 4, and I'll replace the 2.5 inches dart, and then I'll add 1 inch stitching allowance. So I'm going to connect from the chest line, the marking I have at the chest line, to the one I have on my waistline. And then I'm going to redraw my armhole, the down armhole. So this is the new armhole. I'm going to clean off this part so you don't get confused. So this is the new armhole curve. As for the keyhole, where I'm not going to be cutting it out yet, you're going to follow me where I'll be cutting out. When I'm stitching, I'll show you what I'm going to do with this. So for now, it's going to be like that. I'm not cutting it out. So this is all for the front. I'm going to cut this out and we move to the back. So this is what I have after cutting it out. Now let's proceed to making the back pattern. And the back pattern is just a basic bodice. If you already know how to make a basic bodice, you can skip this part. I'm going to mark out 1 inch zipper allowance. So from the zipper allowance, I'll mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. At that point where I mark my shoulder measurement, I'll go down by 1 inch for shoulder slope, and then I'll mark my neck width. The neck width I'm working with I use for the front pattern is 3 inches. So I'm marking the same thing at the back pattern. So I'm connecting the neck width to the shoulder slope. And then I'll go ahead and enter my armhole measurement, which is my bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. I'll draw a line there, which will also serve as the chest line. Then I'm going to bring down my shoulder measurement to this chest line in order to get a straight line from the shoulder. And I'll draw my armhole line. So I'll look for the midpoint of this armhole line, which is 4 inches, and then I'll go in by 0.25 inch. Remember, for the front I went in by half an inch, but for this I'm using 0.25. Then on my chest line, I'll enter my bust measurement divided by 4. And I'm going to connect the 3 markings together to form my armhole curve. So that's for my back armhole. Then for my back neckline, I'll be using 1.5 for my back neck depth. Then I'm going to draw my neckline. So that's for my back neckline. So I'll go ahead and mark my waist point. Waist point I'm working with is 17, and that's what I'm marking here. So on the chest line, I'm going to mark 4 inches from the center back, and I'll draw a straight line. Then on the waistline, I'm going to take in a dart, half-inch dart on both sides of this line. So that will make it 1 inch, total dart of 1 inch, and I'm going to connect it to the chest line. I'm going to take out half-inch from the zipper. This is to avoid zipper bulge. So I'm going to connect it to the chest line as well. Then I'm going to enter my waist measurement divided by 2, starting from the zipper line. And I will replace this 1 inch that I have here. So my waist measurement divided by 2, divided by 4 rather, plus 1 inch that, and then plus 1 inch stitching allowance. On the chest line here, I'll enter my bust measurement divided by 4, starting from the zipper line, which I already have here, and I'll add 1 inch stitching allowance. So I'm going to connect it to the waistline. So that's all I have for the back pattern. So I'm cutting out these parts. So the dart that I took out at the zipper area, I don't need to replace it, because it's already, like, if it become a bulge, you don't need it. So because you don't need it, so you don't need to replace it. But just know that your zipper allowance is still 1 inch. Let me mark 1 inch here and extend my zipper allowance to that side. This is the front and this is the back. Now let's go to the skirt part, which is also very, very important. You need to pay close attention. This is for the skirt part. You know, the skirt, you first have like a normal skirt before the gathers. First of all, I'm going to mark my hip measurement divided by 2 plus 1 inch allowance. I'm going to draw a straight line. I'll mark the same thing again for the back part, because I'm drafting both the front and the back at once. So I'll go ahead and mark my hip points. The hip point I'm working with is 9 inches. This is for front and this is for the back. So I just have to note that so you don't get confused while I'm drafting it. So like this, the front pattern is on fold. For the back pattern, it's going to be just one piece. We don't need to fold it because the back is the same. But the front pattern, we need to bring out that asymmetric style that's on the skirt part at the front pattern of that of the skirt. That's why I need to fold it into 2, so I'll be able to draw the asymmetric style. So what I will do now is to enter my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch stitching allowance. Then on the hip line, I already have my measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch. So I'm going to use my cuff ruler to connect my waistline to my hip points. And the length I want to use, so from my hip point, I'm going down by 5 inches. That's where the asymmetric is going to drop to. So from my hip point, I mark 5 inches. For the back pattern, I'll mark my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch stitching allowance. And then on the hip line, we already have the hip measurement. I'll connect it to the hip point. So I'm going to cut this out and show you before we proceed. So I'll keep the back pattern aside first of all. So for the front pattern, from the waistline, I'll come down by 5 inch. I'll mark the same 5 inch this other side as well. Okay, so the asymmetric is facing the left side of the gown. So I'm going to draw it to the left. So from the center front, I'm marking 4 inches to the left side, and this is my 4 inches right here. So I'm going to use a straight ruler to connect these 5 inches here. I came down with. Remember, I came down from the waistline by 5 inches. So I'm using a straight ruler to draw line to that place I marked. Please, if you get confused, go back and watch it again. And then from this other side too, I'll connect it to the same point. So I'll cut this out now. So this is the front pattern of my skirt. Now let's work on the back pattern. For this back pattern, we are going to get the same measurements we have here. So for the front pattern, I came down by 5 inch. So I'm going to do the same thing here. And then at the center back, let me mark my zipper allowance before I continue. So this is my zipper allowance. So by the side, I came down with 5 inches to match up with what we have at the front. Then at the center back is not going to be the same measurement. The center back, I'm going to come down by 3 inches instead. So I minus 2 inches from what we have at the side. So I'm going to use a straight ruler to connect it. So you see that the back part is quite small. Let me cut this out. So this is what we have for the back pattern. All this, we don't need it. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you like this video before we proceed to the stitching part. So now I want to go to the stitching part. Please like this video, give this video a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed, subscribe now. Thank you so much. And if you have any question, please drop it on the comment section. I'll place this on my fabric, cut it out, and then we proceed to stitching. I'm done cutting it out on my fabric. This is the front pattern. This is the center front. I cut it on fold. And this is the side front. I cut out 2 pieces, and this is for the back pattern. I also cut out lining and main fabric. This is the skirt part. This is the front pattern. I cut out with the lining. So this is for the front, and this is the back. You know the back is 2 pieces. That's why it's small like this. So let's start stitching this together. I'll start with the front pattern. I'll open it up this way. This is the lining. So I'm going to join all the front piece together. When I was cutting it out, I added ½ inch allowance at the bustier area where I'm going to join it. So I'm using the ½ inch to join it. So I'm going to join the 3 pieces together, and I'll also join the lining the same way. Then I'll bring it back. So this is it. I'm done joining it. I've joined the lining as well. So now I'll just go ahead and notch around the bustier area. So it will relax when I turn it to the right side. I'll clip around the both side of the bustier. I'll also do the same thing to the lining, and then I'll go ahead and iron it very well. So this is the front piece, and then this is the lining. I'm going to use the lining to turn it. I'll place the lining on top of the main fabric with the right side facing each other. So I'm done stitching round. I stitch round the neckline. I stitch the side, the two side, and the two armhole. So before I turn it to the right side, I'm going to place the design, the neckline design we drew earlier. So this is how I'm going to be placing this. Just going to make sure that your fabric is laying flat like this. You only need this part, so you just make sure that that part is flat. So I'll place this pattern paper this way. I will just make sure that everything align, and I'll pin it down. Before you place your pattern paper, you need to make sure that the design is actually on the side where you want line to be. Like my own, it to be on the left side. So where I'm placing it now, after I finish stitching and turn it to the right side, it's going to be on the left side of my neckline. I'm going to take it to my sewing machine, and I'm going to run a stitch on this line that I drew here. I'll follow the line, the exact line, and then stitch it, then bring it back. So I'm done stitching, and you can see what I have here. So what I'll do now is to trim off this part, and then trim off the paper. I don't need this paper anymore. I'll just tear it off. We just trim it close to the line, but not too close, so you don't cut into your seam. I think I should tear off the paper first. So see what I have now. I'll turn it to the right side. So I've turned it to the right side, as you can see. You see the bust? This is the lining, and this is this side. This part now is the right side, and you can see the neckline. So I have to iron this very well so that everything will relax. So this is the back pattern. So I'm going to turn the back pattern the same way also. I have both the lining and the main fabric here. I'll stitch the neckline, the armhole, the side and the zipper area. I'll not stitch the shoulder line and down part. So I'll do it for the two parts, and then I'll bring it back. So I'm done stitch. So now I'm just going to clip around the neckline and also clip around the armhole area, so that when I turn to the right side, it will relax very well. It's time to join the back to the front piece. So to join this, you are just going to place the back pattern. The right side should be on the right side, and the left side should be on the left side, like this. Then you are going to pass the shoulder line of the front piece through the shoulder line of the back piece, and then you turn the back piece to the wrong side, the way I'm doing it, and you bring out the front piece from here. I'm just going to align this very well to pin it down. Then I'll take it to my machine and run a stitch. I'll go ahead and stitch the two shoulder lines. So I'm done joining it at the shoulder. So the next thing I will do is to join the skirt to this before shaping the side. So now I'll go ahead and shape the two sides. So I'll turn it to the wrong side and place it. I added 1 inch allowance to this, and I've used ½ inch to turn the lining with the main fabric. So what is left is ½ inch. So I'm going to use that ½ inch to shape the two sides. Then after shaping, we move to making the gather. I'm done shaping it at the side, and this is what I have. The zipper area is still open. So I calculated my gathers and I cut out this. I calculated my high and low points. You know, we have a low point here. The skirt, the shape we have here, this asymmetric skirt. So I calculated it and cut it out. Then do the gathers. For the gathered part, you must have at least ×3 of your hip measurement. That's what I use for my own. I use ×3 of my hip measurements to make the gathers. I already have a video on my channel on how to make a gathers. I will add the link to the description. But if you don't know how to create the high point and the low points when making gathers, I'm going to make a video on that. So just drop it on the comment section, and if I see a lot of comments about it, I'll make a video on how to create the. So before I go ahead to join the gathers to the upper bodice, I'm going to first of all stitch around the hem to hold the lining and the main fabric together before I proceed to joining the gathers. So I'm done stitching. So what I'll do next is to pin each point of these gathers to the points on the skirt. I try to mark out each of the points, like the low points where we have the end of this asymmetric. So I'll look for it and I'll pin it to that point. I also make sure I marked the side where the front and the back pattern meet. So I'll pin it. So this way I know that everything aligns and it's in place. So what I'll do next is just to take it to my sewing machine and run a stitch. I'll stitch it together, and then after that I'll fix my zipper and wear it to show you the result. So thank you so much for watching. If you are still watching and you are yet to subscribe to this channel, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and make sure you like this video.